So, Murad Watson from Syracuse visiting Texas tomorrow. And, with these things, it happens quickly. He could definitely be committed to Texas tomorrow night or Wednesday morning.
Yep.
That's usually how these things work. If it takes a long time, they usually don't end up at your school. So, what do you think about him? And then what do you think? Again, we kind of talked on the transfers. What do you think it says about the room in general if they continuing to add to it like this?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with the second question first. It's very clear that this coaching staff post, I think like the first off season, has really only gone to the portal if A, they think there's like a home run, like can't miss guy in the portal, or B, they know they need to upgrade or just add a bunch of bodies in a room, right? We've seen it. We've seen it at defensive tackle 2 years in a row, right? We've seen it at wide receiver where they went high ceiling guys, didn't really add a ton, right? They either go really high level or really wide with it. And so I think this is pretty indicative that Texas still isn't super comfortable with what they have in the defensive tackle room specifically, right? All of the names that Texas is being tied to in the portal are either guys like Endries, who's like a top end elite guy at his position, or every defensive tackle that pops in, right? Any defensive tackle that goes into the portal, they're even double bidding and getting kids to go back on their signatures with other schools to get them signed at Texas. So like that's how much of a priority I think upgrading the defensive line is. Now specifically about Watson, he's really intriguing to me. He's a very intriguing prospect. 6'3", 315, right? He is one of those guys who has the body to be a space eater, right? He has the body to be a space eater. He played on all 13 games last year, started 11, I think, 31 tackles. So not like a ton of production in that defense, but again, I said it before, the defensive tackle in this offense, if they're making a bunch of tackles and a bunch of backfield plays, that's playing with house money. Their job is to occupy two guys in a gap and let Anthony Hill make the plays, let Leon Galefau make the plays, right? So a guy like Watson, he's got a big body, he's thick, he can occupy a lot of space. So I think, again, based on Texas's priorities, they're probably going to push him pretty hard on his visit to just not leave campus without a signature on the dotted line.
Yeah, I agree with your first point about, we got a guy that was going to go to North Carolina. Apparently the paperwork was already signed. All he had to do was basically send it in. And Texas like, no, we want you. So they up their bid. And that tells me everything I need to know. You're 100% right. We don't know about this room or any of these guys in this room. So we're just going to get as many as we possibly can. And if two of them hit, heck yeah, it's basically, when you play, if anyone has seen those YouTube shorts of that movie of the couple that plays the lottery, where instead of buying one ticket, let's buy $10,000 worth of tickets, basically scratch them off, and we're going to win. That's how Texas is kind of playing it with his defensive tackle room. And I like the strategy. It's something that's been discussed even in the NFL of like with quarterbacks. Hey, get as many as you can in a draft or as many as you can with free agency in a draft. And one of them's bound to hit. I think that's how kind of Texas is playing this because none of these guys, I'm going to tell it straight to you guys like I always do. They're not great players. None of them scream, man, this guy's a hell of a player here. They're all okay rotational players. And maybe they have a chance of hitting like Murad Watson's a freshman. So he could definitely live up to his expectations of whatever they were coming out of high school were. Travis Shaw, I think, could do that too with some good coaching from Kenny Baker. But someone like Hero Canoe, I don't know if there's really much there. Levon Johnson, I don't really know if there's very much there to tap into. They're more rotational guys. So I think that says a lot about the room in general. And like I've been saying, it's just not going to be as good as it has been the last 2 years. I just don't see that happening. But again, it doesn't need to be. Like you said, that's not the key to this Texas defense. Your linebackers are a lot better than they used to be here at Texas. The edges are a lot better than they used to be here at Texas. So if those live up to the expectations, then I'm not as concerned about the interior of this defensive line.
Yeah, and I think part of the issue for Texas is that teams are not going to let their elite defensive linemen into the portal, right? They're positions that you spend on, and defensive tackle is probably not one of the top five, like you're spending on quarterbacks and receivers and edge rushers. But like, if you're an elite lineman, you're not going to be able to build an elite line unit through the portal, right? We've seen that with multiple different spots. And so, you may hit on a guy, you may add somebody, I'm trying to think of a name like Texas added last year, right? But like you're not going to add a ton. Like you're not going to have 100% hit rate on that. And so I think Texas going almost like Moneyball, right? We can't replace the guys we had last year on a one-to-one basis. So let's grab 73 guys and try to replace them in aggregate. and we'll see what works. Throw a bunch of stuff at the wall, see what sticks, see who steps up, because a lot of this is kind of low risk, high reward for Texas. If you have to play all 6 of them for 15 snaps a game, great. If you have a couple of guys that pop and you can play them for more than that, you can play them as a primary starter, great, right? Play the hot hand that week. Who had a great week of practice? Okay, you're starting this week. So there's a lot of options that Texas has here with a room that's this deep. Again, this is really a room that I think they're really trying to shore up, like having a decent floor with an uncertain ceiling.
Well, that's the thing too, that you said that the trenches are kind of a war of attrition anyway. So, hey, if you have 6 guys to just rotate the whole game, eventually the offensive line tired, and that C+ guy is going to start beating those offensive linemen just because they're tired, and this guy's only played 8 snaps. So that's another way to look at it. Overall, I do think this guy has the highest upside of anyone we brought in other than Cole Brevard. I think Cole Brevard's an actual good defensive lineman, but I think he has a higher upside than Travis Shaw. I think he has a higher upside than Hero Canoe, and I definitely think he has a higher upside than LaVon Johnson. So I definitely think Texas is going to be pretty aggressive with him.
Yeah, and this is the kind of kid that I think the transfer portal was made for, right? He was a 3-star kid out of high school, didn't really get a ton of offers. I think Tennessee was probably his only big offer. I think Rutgers was a Power 5 offer technically, but it's not really that much of a football school being a kid. If I think he's from New Jersey, right? So a guy comes in, plays really well as a freshman, like, let's see if I can upgrade, and that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah, 100%. I agree. It's someone made for this where, hey, I wasn't known in high school, but I made myself known a little bit here so I can step up to a bigger school. And yeah, I think the biggest guy that jumped in the portal defensive tackle wise is Demonic Williams from Oklahoma. And let's be honest, he didn't really produce that well last year either. So yeah, that's like the biggest name I can think of. You're 100% right. Like key positions like that, it's very hard to find. Guess what? 330-pound guys that are freak athletes. And when you find them, you pay them just so they stay on campus. So you're never going to get a great one in the portal unless that guy's just, I'm worth a lot of money and the school's not willing to pay it, but most schools right now are willing to pay it seems like. And there's also some schools that are just always willing to overpay for people as well. So we'll see what happens.
That's capitalism. You pay for what you need.
100%. Again, guys, please hit that like button. Please subscribe down below. We really appreciate you guys joining us. It really helps out what we try to do here.